Shuttam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
So I saved this. When I save this, what happens? Now only my this IP address only can access this. You may not be able to access this. When I say suppose in this particular this one I gave you access, and I told you to just go ahead and upload or download files, and you may not be able to have the access unless you add your IP address over here. Getting? So that's where the selected network comes into picture. In the real time, of course, selected networks only we choose. Of course, we don't choose all networks. Okay. And shared access signature. So here a shared access signature is nothing but it usually it helps you to give access for particular actions and for particular time that you can choose over here. Say suppose I want to give access only for, so a storage account consists of what? It can contains a blob or file or queue or table, right? Say suppose I want to give access to only blob, so I'll choose blob. And even at resource level also you can give whether the container you want to choose or object level you want to give. Object in the sense what? The one which you upload, the actual this one, so that also you can do. So container level I can give the access. And here also I can see read, write, delete, all options I can change. And also I can give the option saying that I want to give the permission, this all these privileges whatever I choose, I want to give between only these timings. That also I can choose. Say suppose I want to give the access between 980 to only at the end of the month I wanted to give. Okay, after that I don't want to give the access, I want to restrict the access. Okay, that also I can choose. Okay, so when I choose this, okay, when I, so what I done, I chose all these options. Okay, delete and all. So even I give options and blob storage and resource types, I want to give some time based on this. And here the keys will be there. I can generate a key here. So connection string, SAS token, blob service URL, these will be generated. Say suppose a team is there, another team, they want to what is it? They want to access some of the files in this. Say suppose you placed some key objects over here and you want to share to your team. Okay, so what I did, so I uploaded the data in that file and accessed this. Okay, allow, I gave all these options. Okay, and I gave this connection string signed up. So what I will do, I will share the SAS token and blob service URL to that person. Then with this he can access directly the container from my storage account. All right, so that is the importance of the SAS. So this is also one of the important thing, shared access signature. So usually you'll use those keys, SAS token and keys, when you give permissions to other users. Okay, that's where the security networking comes into picture. And
Do
encryption. Yeah.
sorry, do we use this connection string in pipeline for accessing the files?
Which pipeline?
I mean, ADF pipelines, whatever the pipelines we create. Let's say if I want to read the data from CSV file and load it to a table,
Yeah.
do we use these connection strings for connection like in on-premise SSH package? We use a file connection string, right?
Yeah, no, we have separate connection strings that we create the connection string.
Oh,
okay. And here in encryption we have so I was talking about, right? So store this ADLS is Azure data storage account, so powerful that even it secures the data in an efficient manner. So here you can see encryption type microsafe to managed keys. So that means whatever the data you're choosing, that by default it will be encrypted. So you don't need to worry about the data security. That's what I'm saying, encrypting the data. So here what you can do, so default we choose Microsoft managed keys. So when still if you want to encrypt with your own key, that also you can do. So you can choose your own key, Microsoft customary managed key, in the sense you whatever the managed key that you will choose. Okay, with that key the data will be encrypted. Okay, we'll talk about what is key vault and all. So otherwise it will go for the Microsoft managed keys. All right, and security. So these options, all options, whatever we chose, and some of the options we are choosing here first time, and some of the options we are choosing here, that all we can do here. This is a security center, so you can choose various options. So let's leave that for now. So Defender is like a new kind of thing. So whenever you try to access the data and exploit it, so it alerts immediately. Okay, that is Defender, but I never used it, so you can ignore that. And geo replication, yes, as I was saying. So here I use UseToUS and I use geo replication, right? I did not go for the LRS, I go for the GRS, okay, zero redundancy. So what happens, for UseToUS is a primary location, and for that secondary region is a West2US. So what happens when I create the data, when I upload the data, it will be synchronized and copied over in the secondary location also, right? It shows over here, whatever the location we choose, that shows over here. Getting? So it clearly you can see here what is the locations I'm choosing here. And this data protection, so soft delete, when you do soft delete, how many days you can keep it the data, that you can choose here. Yeah, there's some of the important things. And alerts, so this alerts, if you see, and most of the things, say this monitoring, when you go for the monitoring, insight, alert, metrics, and this classic version, this one, these are all common for any service in the any resource in the Azure. Okay, so when you say ADF, when you say Azure SQL, when you say Synapse, or when you go for the, what do you say, this event hub, irrespective of any resource, this will be common. So in alerts, metrics, these are the very important points. Under the monitoring, even as the exam point of view also, these are very important to learn. So it's nothing but it's just alert rule. So when you say, you know that, right, what is alert? So alerting the user when specific things happens, okay, to avoid the issues, right? And based on the resources, it changes, what are the resource types and all, it changes. Okay, and here I have like I can check anything. So I have storage account, I can check, filter by location. Why am I unable to see that? Okay, here the resource, okay, sorry, that resource is already available. PCD test is a resource which I chose. And here you can give the condition. Okay, so when you want to see metrics or activity log. So activity log, in the sense, whenever the some activity log happens, you can create the this one. Okay, delete storage account, all these things, activity log you can see, or metrics you can see. So say suppose I want to availability, I will choose the availability. Okay, last 6 hours. Okay, whatever the availability is there, I want to give the action, and greater than, that is a availability I want. So for that availability for last 6 hours, I want to give that, I want to alert it. Okay, and I can give the authentication, account key and all I can give, greater than some whenever this threshold is like 20% or something, I want to give that. So usually we don't create this, but I wanted to show you how the alerts will be used. But in the ADF, usually we give the alerts like data factory and all. So there what we do is, say suppose when the job is failed, when the pipeline is failed, then you give this alerts mechanism. Okay, so this alert mechanism is common for any resource across the Azure. Okay, that you need to understand. Otherwise, yeah, that's all important things that you need to understand. Otherwise, that's it. That networking is one of the important part, SAS is one of the important point, and of course you need to think about the actual data. And one more thing, yeah, I wanted to show you that where is that option, security. Yeah, sorry, access control. Yeah, here access control, what you can do, you can give a access based on the email address, or in the sense based on the user or user group, you can give the access. So here what I'll do, I'll add a role assignment. I'll use the contributor role. Okay, so what I can do, I can give the access to only limited number of members. Say suppose I want to give the access to some user. Say suppose I want to give the access to some guy saying that Ramesh @gmail.com. Say suppose. Okay, so what I can do, so with this guy is a guest guy, so only this guy, when I select this, only this guy will have access on this. Okay, so even the people who does not have access on this particular subscription or this one, I can add the guest to here, and I can control this. Okay, so that also I can give. Even users and user groups also will be there. So based on that, you can control the access to only particular users. That also you can see here, role assignment. But usually we cover everything, we control everything with the networking option.
So Purushottam, I have
Yeah.
one question.
Yeah.
So if we give access to any specific person or any specific DL, okay. So in that case, we are giving access, that's okay. But before that, they have an account or subscription for this Microsoft Azure, right?
Yeah, of course, they need to have a subscription, right?
That is the main mandatory, right?
Yes. Of course, they need to have a subscription. Then I mean to say access to Azure. Then they can access this, of course. Yes.
Okay.
So container, I'll create a small container.
So in the storage account, the container is nothing but a folder, right?
Container is nothing but first level of container. I cannot say folder, but in the layman term, it's a first level of folder. Okay, so it's, I can say a drive or kind of thing. So in the containers, this container will be there by default, whether you choose a blob storage or ADLS. But within the container, directory option will be available only when you choose the ADLS. So container is kind of a first level of storage folder, I can say. Yes. Are you clear?
Yeah.
So I can create a folder, or directly I can upload a file over here. Say suppose I'll upload a file. 1 second. Yeah, I uploaded a file known as sample, which is hot over here. All right, and you can check over here everything, like what are the data you have, versions. I'm not accepting in a version, so edit. You can check the data over here, and you can generate SAS here also. I was saying, right, SAS. Say suppose for this particular file you want to generate the SAS token and URL. So what I can do, I can just check that, then this SAS URL will be there. So with this URL you can access this particular data. Okay, and for today what I suggest you is there is something called Azure Storage Explorer. Okay, so I want everyone to download this. Okay, this Azure Storage Explorer will be there. You just download this okay, and play around. So this is sorry, Azure Storage Explorer. Where is it? Azure Storage Explorer. Yeah. So Azure Storage Explorer is kind of a application, so where you can download and you can access, you can navigate everything whatever is available over here there. Getting? So say suppose I'll download this. So this is one of the powerful tool which we usually use in real time also, because here our data upload download will be there, because each and every time you cannot navigate, you can control everything with ease of access, right? So that is the reason what they've done is they kind of started this tool, Azure Storage Explorer, where you can control everything within the tool. So it is a good interface to play around with your different folders, containers, and the data. So you download this and see how does it goes. Okay. So for today, what I'll suggest you is you. So is everyone has account now? Everybody created account? Is there anyone left?
Yeah, I have not created it because my 1 month is expired. So I
Oh,
have to create a new one.
okay, okay,
So
yeah.
after I will create in next week. Yeah.
Yeah, try to create that because if you go on doing this without exploring the things, again that will be much confusion on your head going forward. So what I
Yeah.
suggest is you just finish whatever I explain over in the class and try to explore different options. Okay, so it would be great if it has two-way sessions. Otherwise there will be confusion again, that confusion gets piled up over the weeks, right? So I suggest every one of you to create a uh, like Azure account and create a storage account and give this access, try to play around the access and try to explore the options whatever available. You try to do that. That gives much confidence to you guys. Okay, so even the storage account is very simple thing, and there is nothing much like complex to thing learn, but it would be good idea if you have like knowledge on each and every important topic. Okay, that's what I suggest. So today try to do this, so that will be helpful for you. All right, give me 1 minute. So I wanted to show you something. Any doubts so far? So we'll explore the options within the Azure this one storage account when we navigate to different tools. Like say suppose I want to navigate Azure Data Factory, then also I will try to explain you within the Azure Data Factory what are the options we have, like what are the options to select, choose in the storage account, ADLS, and how do we access those things we can do. Let me check that. Let's talk about some. Yeah, so that is a storage account. So you try to explore, try to load the files and all, and we'll see that. And while explaining Azure Data Factory, I'll do more options. Like I'll create folders, folder under folder, and how do I create dynamically the folder under folder. So how better we can navigate to different folders, and how the storage mechanism will be there, that we will cover. Okay, while doing this, it's kind of a clubbing both the things. That's how even our course continues. So clubbing different things and exploring different options. Okay, and let us talk about Azure Data Factory. So what is Azure Data Factory? So when you talk about the Azure Data Factory, so what are the Azure Data Factory? So I hope every one of you worked on the SSIS, right? In this team.
For me,
Yeah,
yes.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know ETL, what is ETL or this one? So what is ETL? As I was saying in the first session, extract, transform, load, right? So extracting the data, transforming the data, loading the data is SSIS widely used. So I can say that Azure Data Factory is kind of a SSIS within the cloud. It's, of course, we cannot compare with that SSIS, but it's kind of a SSIS, I can say. Okay, it's kind of SSIS within the Data Factory. So if you know SSIS and all, if you work with SSIS, so Data Factory is easy to understand from the implementation point of view. But apart from SSIS, there is so many things that you need to understand, but it's basically kind of a SSIS, I can say. Okay, so what is Data Factory? Data Factory is cloud-based data integration service that orchestrates and automates the movement and transformation of the data. So what it does is orchestrates, in the sense it kind of combines different kind of steps, okay, within a single unit, and automates the movement and transformation data. Automate in the sense we can automate that movements and transformation of the data. And since I can create some jobs, I can schedule that, right? Say suppose I have like multiple sources, like 3 to 4 sources are there, right? I can go to that. So what I can do, say suppose I have multiple sources like SQL, Hadoop, flat file, social media. So what I can do, I can ingest the data, right? I'll ingest the data. Okay, ingest in the sense extracting, ingest in the sense is kind of a getting the data. So here in the data engineering world, extraction is replaced with ingest. So you need to use ingest the data, then prepare and transfer the data and publish the data, which I was talking, right? So ingestion is a very important part there, for which we use the Azure Data Factory widely. Okay, even I can do the preparation of the data also. I can see, in the sense, the transformation also I can do within the Data Factory based on the data volume. I think I'm not sharing that, sorry. Yeah. So are you able to see my screen, right? The Azure Data Factory definition.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So Data Factory is cloud-based data integrity service that orchestrates and automates all this data. Okay. Say suppose you have like data is a sample, some employee data is there, and which is available in the some on-premise database. Okay. What you can do, you'll get the data. Okay. You transfer the data, load the data using the Data Factory, right? Say suppose say suppose you have this data. Apart from that, yes, say suppose you have some other data also within the some real-time application. Okay, real-time application, and you extract the data with Event Hub and you place in the data storage account, and you're transforming the data with the help of the Databricks, not with the Data Factory. So in the Databricks, usually we use the notebooks. So what I can do, I can call that notebooks also within the Data Factory only. So it's kind of I can control different levels of data loading mechanism within the same pipeline. So I can combine all this, I can orchestrate everything over here. So it used for orchestrating the data tool, orchestration tool, also as a transformation tool. That is advantage of the Data Factory, that makes that as one of the powerful tool in the data engineering world. All right. And
Prashant, what is notebook? I mean, you told
Yeah,
Databricks.
notebook is like an interface. So it's kind of a file, I can say, a file which has a code. Okay, it's a file which has a code, kind of a any interface. Say suppose in the what do you say, in the Visual Studio we have like Python files and .NET files, right? So same way
Yeah.
it's the interface where you write the code. Okay, and
But the code in which language?
so that's what I'm saying. The notebook in the will explain when you come to the Databricks, but Databricks supports different kind of languages. It supports Scala, it supports Python, it supports SQL. So you can write the language in any format. Okay, you can write this native Scala, or you can write the code in the Python also. That's nothing but PySpark we call. So that also you can call over here. Okay, and let us see what are the different options we have within the this one, and why it's very powerful. What is making this powerful? So some of the options we have, some of the advantages we have, it's a productive tool, drag and drop and codeless data movement. So as SSIS, it's also simple drag and drop tool. So you can just drag that transformations and source or target, and you just drop it over and you can play over here. And orchestras where your data lives, lift SSIS package to Azure. So suppose you have the data orchestras where your data is. That's what I'm saying, right? Irrespective of the data source, you can just pull the data and you can handle the data. Say irrespective, like with the on-premise or Azure or different sources like S3, okay, Amazon. So wherever the data source is available, you just pick the data and handle the data. And one more advantage is which is widely used, lift SSIS packages to Azure. And say suppose you have a legacy application which you are using from 10 to 15 years, and you don't with SSIS packages, all the data handling you're doing SSIS package, and but you don't want to disturb that, you don't want to replicate that, you want to keep it as it is, but still you want to use the Azure. So what I can do, I can create explicit environment within the data factory for SSIS, and simply I'll call the SSIS package in my Azure data factory pipeline. Okay, simply I can call it, I can control that SSIS package movement with the pipeline. That also I can use. So this is it's a good advantage for the people who developed this code in the SSIS, but still they want to use the cloud. All right. And one more thing is serverless scalability with no infrastructure to manage. Yeah, serverless scalability with no infrastructure to manage is scalable. Okay, always is scalable. So based on the data movement, you can increase this computation power, IO power, you can increase the speed, you can increase the performance. Okay, that all you can do. Trusted, yes. So certified compliant data movement. So whatever the data is there, while data movement is go through the trusted data environment, so there won't be any chance for the data leakage or data hack. All right. And why it's making powerful. See, if you see here, Azure integration runtime, which is used for that data, connecting the data with the cloud, it's almost available with 20 now. That was 20, now it's almost 30 plus regions available, and we have 65 plus connectors with different sources. If you see here, within the Azure, you can connect to all these kind of different sources like table storage, file storage, SQL, and all. If you see NoSQL, like Cassandra database, Mongo database, even Amazon S3, FTP, SFTP, and generic, like even you can get the data from HTTP, what do you say, this web also you can access the data. There's so many options which are available. And if you see the database, you'll have tons of the databases through which you can connect and get the data, access the data. So that is the reason it makes this data factory as one of the powerful tool. Okay, so that is one of the advantage that's making the data factory as powerful tool. And if you broader terms, at a high level term, so we have some of the terminology which you need to understand. Okay, it's a basic thing. If you know the SSIS, or if you know the basics of SSI ETL. So what is a pipeline? A pipeline is a logical group of activities. They are used to group activities in a unit that you get to perform a task. Okay, so what is a pipeline? So pipeline is a group of activities. Say suppose there are 3 activities are there. I want to extract the data. Okay, I want to aggregate the data. I want to load the data into the target. So these are the three activities I have. So what I can do, I will combine all these three activities together and I will group it under the name as pipeline. Okay, so pipeline I can say in the SSIS layman term is a package. Okay, so pipeline is a logical grouping of activities. What are the activities I perform on the data? Those are grouped as pipeline. Then what is the activity I was talking about? Activity defines the actions to perform on your data. So whatever the action you are performing in the data, that is nothing but activity, right? So you can activity say, suppose your activity can be a copy the data. An activity, it's like transform the data. The activity, it's like a, you can create a .NET custom activity to transform your data. All these are activities only. Activity can be anything, the action which you perform on the data. So these are all activities combined and makes the pipeline. Getting? Okay. So before that, yeah. So within the activity, we have data movement activities, data transformations activities, right? So in the SSIS, what do you have? Control flow, data flow we have, right? In the data, in the SSIS, same like here also we have data movement activities, data transformations activities. Data movement activities in this like control flow, activity data in data factory copies data from one source to another source. Data from any source can be written to any sink. Okay, so here usually we have the source and target in the SSIS. Here we call as a source and sink. Sink in the sense target where you're syncing the data. That's called a sink here. Okay, so we have two types of activities: data movement activities, which just copies the data from one place to another place, and data transformation activity, which transfers data and combines with the another activity. Okay, data transfer activity transfer data to desired format and shape. Transformation activity that can be added to pipeline either individually or chained with another activity. So sometimes it will be have only one activity, transformation activity. Sometimes it's coupled with another transformation activity. Same like we have transformations in the SSIS. So we have here activities, transformations activities. Okay, so supported activity, supported data source, as I was saying, Azure, files, database, shares, everything it supports. So one more important thing that you need to understand, linked service. So linked service defines the information needed for data factory to connect to external sources. So linked service is kind of a information, it's kind of a string, connection string I can say in the layman term, which use it to connect to the actual data, external source. Say suppose in Azure data storage I want to connect. Okay, so I need some information like where is the storage account, what is the pipe, what is the storage account, what is the container, all this I need, right? Then that information will be captured in the linked service. Say suppose SQL instance, when I say SQL is there, then it's a server, then the database and username, password, all those will be there, right? That I can capture with the linked service. So based on the data source from where I need to capture the data, that all the data will be there available in the linked service. So data set. So data set in the sense, what are the actual data you are getting the data into the linked service. Okay, say suppose in the data storage, which I have created earlier, like test data storage, within that I want to capture the data from the sample file which I have uploaded. In this case, whatever the mechanism I want to, whatever the mechanism I choose to connect to that storage will be there in the linked storage, but the sample file which I am trying to access is nothing but a data set. Okay, so data set is nothing but the actual data which you're trying to access with the help of linked service. Getting? That is a data set. So when you go with the actual implementation, you will understand better. But at high level, these are the terms which you need to understand: the activity, the pipeline, the data set, then the linked service.
So data set, can we say it's a source data?
Yeah, it can be source data. Yes, it can be source data. It can be target data. Anything it can be.
So this is just similar to means whenever we are working on the reporting side, at that time we are creating data set, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is just kind of similar thing.
Yes, yes.
You may say, okay.
Absolutely.
And one more question. So whatever you explain in SSIS, we are doing. So we directly use same SSIS package into the Azure, or we
Yes.
have to go through that another option, that data transformation and data movement, like
No,
that.
I'm saying that if you are using SSIS package and you want to call that SSIS package in Azure, you can use the special integration runtime. We'll talk about integration runtime in the class. So SSIS integration runtime with which you can connect and execute the SSIS packages within the Azure.
Okay.
Okay. Say
But
suppose
creating a SSIS package is
no, you cannot. You cannot create an SSIS package. You can you can use that created SSIS package and execute over here, but you cannot create SSIS package in Azure Data Factory.
So creating SSIS package is our normal Microsoft technology that we earlier also working on that.
Yes,
Same.
yes.
Here just we are just calling through Azure and executing and then giving the result like this.
Exactly.
It is just a kind of wrapper for SSIS package. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the option I was saying. It's one of the options.
No, I thought there is an option to create the packages here in Azure itself. That
you
what
can
I am
create.
thinking.
You can create the pipelines. I'm saying, right? You can create the pipelines. You can transfer the data. You can do all kind of transformation data. Okay, but what I was saying is, say suppose you are using a bank is there, the bank is handling all the data in SSIS from past 20 years. They don't want to disturb that, but still they want to go with the Azure Data Factory. Then they can you call that SSIS package and execute within the Azure environment. That's what I was saying. But you cannot control the, you cannot create an SSIS package. You can use the, you can execute SSIS packages over here.
Okay, so that is come under the PaaS. So this scenario, this situation.
Yes, yeah.
Platform as a service like this.
Yes, it's a PaaS. Yes.
PaaS, correct, no? Or it is SaaS, because we are not directly using software here.
Yes, PaaS.
PaaS. My understanding is correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And see here in the layman term, this diagram talks about, say suppose data says a table level and activity which is consumes produces. Say suppose data set is there, it's consumed from the activity. Okay, this all activity are grouped under the pipeline, and with the help of linked services, this activity runs. So data set be consumed or produced, because data set can be source or a target, right? And represents data items stored in linked service. So what is data set? Data set represents data, particular data, okay, which is stored in the linked service. Say suppose my linked service is a SQL server, then it will be table. Say suppose my linked service is a Azure Data Lake, then it is a file. Data set will be a file, right? Based on the linked service, the data set will be changed. Okay, so data set is nothing but a item, a particular individual entity from the which is stored in the linked service and which is consumed within the activity, and a pipeline which groups all these activities together and makes a single unit. Getting? So that's about the high level data factory. So in the next lesson, we'll try to explain within the, we'll create a Azure Data Factory. We'll try to do the simple transformations so that you can understand and practice well in advance. Right? Any doubts so far? Any doubts?
Nothing for me.
Yeah. So I suggest to create a Azure storage account today, if you are not, and try to create a storage account and play around uploading the files, and try to upload the files, try to give the access to another user and try to see that. Okay, if you get any doubt, ask me, and tomorrow morning session again we'll try to play around with that. Like if you have everybody has access, so we'll try to access, we'll try to add one of your IP, one of your email ID, that Azure account. Then we'll try to see how the access performs. Then we'll jump into the data factory. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi,
Sure. Yeah.
Purushottam.
Yes.
Can you share all these videos and PPTs because we have already
Yes.
covered 3 seconds.
Yes, I'll do that. Actually, I was about to do the day before yesterday, but because of that bad incident, I could not do that. I will do that today. Okay. So I'll make sure that will be done by today. All the recordings and the PPTs, whatever I've shared. Then I'll update in the group. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Then thanks everyone, and we'll catch up tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.